Hello, today we're going to be assembling the Boaz Pivot Library System. You could do it with our help. Okay, here's some of the tools that we'll be using today. Along with your ladder. Okay, first we're going to assemble the bed cabinet. Let's start by laying out the 6 parts you see here on the floor. The top, you'll notice on the labels at the bottom the names are here. This is the valance for the bed cabinet. This will say the right side, right end, front toe, headboard, and the left end. Okay, first let's drill out the partially drilled 5/16 holes in the top and bottom of the left and right side panels for your bed cabinet using a 5/16 drill bit. So you can place a scrap board underneath your bed cabinet. Finish drilling those holes at the top and bottom of each side panel. Okay, let's start with putting in the silver cams that came with your bed system. You'll notice that there's an arrow on the cam. You place that arrow pointing towards the hole that's in the edge of the material and push it in place. Do that to each part. This is the bed top that I'm working on here. After putting those cams in the top, we're going to flip the top over. Now we're going to put 5 of the pins into the 5mm holes. Now I'm going to place the 3-inch valance onto the pins and secure with a Phillips number 3 by rotating the cams to the locked position. These 5 here now have secured the valance to the top. Let's go ahead and put the cams in the headboard and the front toe and the red pins in the 5mm holes of the left and right side panels. Alright, now we're going to assemble the bed cabinet. I'm going to start by lifting the top assembly, positioning it by the left side panel, and lining up the holes with the red pins. Then tighten the cams. Then lift the headboard, attach it to the side panel where the cams will face the back wall. Take the front toe, attach it at the bottom corner. Now have your helper join you. Take the other side panel, line it up with the holes. And then tighten those cams. Okay, now rotate the cabinet onto its face. And then have your helper join you again to lift the assembly against the wall. Okay, now we're going to attach the lower pivot arms to the left and right side of the bed cabinet. Slide through a hole in the front toe. Use the 2-inch screws and a 5mm hex key wrench to secure that. Use the lock nuts on the inside of the bed cabinet. Okay. After securing the pivot arms to the side panels, take the 2 brass bushings and place onto the pivot pins. Okay, next let's secure the bed cabinet to the studs in your wall using 2 of the L brackets, 4 of the 2-inch screws, and 4 of the small 3/4 inch screws. Locate your studs using a stud finder and secure it to the wall. Now we're going to assemble the 4 bookcases. Let's start by laying out the 7 parts involved for each bookcase. You have the back, the left and right ends, the deck, the horizontal partition, the top, and then the 3-inch balance. Okay, now that they're laid out, you can put the cams in place. Again, arrow towards the edge of the material. Now flip the top over, put the pin in the 5mm hole, secure the balance to the top. Now put the 12 pins in the left side panel with 3 at the top, 5 down the back, 2 at the partition, and 2 down at the deck. Do the same for the right side panel. Okay, now that we've done the pins and cams, we're going to assemble the bookcase. Start with the top assembly, lining it up with the 3 holes, tightening the cams, horizontal partition, and the deck. Okay, now have your helper and you lift the back, lining it up with the 5 pins, tighten the bottom cams, lift the other side, lining up the pins, tighten all the cams. You'll need a short screwdriver to get the inside of the valance on the top. Okay, after the cams are tight, take 2 of the 1 3/4 or 2-inch screws and secure the back to the deck, the horizontal partition, and the top through the holes that are there to help you get the screw in the right location. Be careful to keep the screw perpendicular to the back. Okay, now that you've assembled the 4 bookcases, lay them out so that the bottom of the bookcase is closest to the bed cabinet. And then we're going to assemble the top and bottom hinge plates using 4 of the 8 boards that are drilled to receive the hinge plate, and they're marked with the word deck. So we're going to place the hinge plates lining up with the 4 holes, and then the large hole with the hinge plate pivot pin hole, and secure with the 3/4 inch black screws. Okay, after attaching the hinge plates, we're going to attach the hinge plate boards to the bookcases. We'll start with the top right hinge plate board. Place it so that it lines up with the edges. Use some 1 1/4 screws. Okay, now we've attached the hinge plate boards to the top right, top left, And then 2 of the other 4 boards to the center cabinets, and then the same at the bottom. Okay, now you want to make sure that the bookcases are pushed together. Take your 72-inch piano hinge, place on the joint of where the 2 bookcases are pushed together, using the small 3/4 inch screws. Attach the hinge. Okay, I do a set at the bottom, set in the middle, and a set at the top, and then come back and fill in the holes with all the screws. Okay, now that you've assembled the bookcases and attached the 72-inch piano hinges, it's time to stand up one of the bookcases and attach it to the pivot pins. I'm going to start by taking the 1¼ bolts and the nylock nuts and placing them on top of the cabinet. And then I'm going to take the 2 top pivot arms. There is a right and a left to these. This one is the right. So I'm going to place this up there. And this one here being the left. There's that. Okay, now we're going to bifold the bookcase. Okay, we're going to bifold bookcase, then roll the assembly over onto the hinge. Okay, now we're going to line up this bottom hinge plate with the pivot pin. So I'm going to pull it this way, out there. My partner's going to lift up that end as I line up the holes. Stand it up. Hear it drop onto the pin. Balance it there. And then now my ladder. Place the pivot pin in the top hinge plate. Take the bolt, through the bed cabinet, place a nut on it. Okay, now you can let go. Now do the other bolts. Nuts. And using your 1/2-inch wrench and 5mm hex key, tighten those. Okay, now let's do the top 4-inch balance. Lay out the 5 parts that we'll be using for that. You'll have the left 4-inch nailer, the front 4-inch balance, 2 of the 3 by 9-inch nailers, and the right 4-inch balance. We'll insert the cams and pins. Okay, now I'm going to attach the right 4-inch balance. We want to use the part with the 2 cams towards the ceiling. Have it against the back wall and flush with the top of the side of the bed cabinet. Use a couple of clamps. Hold that in place. Use a couple of the 1¼ wood screws to attach to the bed cabinet side. Now do the same on the other side. Okay, now we're going to attach the front 4-inch balance to the top of the bed cabinet. Secure it by tightening the cams. Okay, now we're going to position and secure the 3-inch by 9-inch nailers. These will go in between the 4-inch side balance and the bed top, the gap that is up here. I'm going to position that. And sometimes you'll need to use a mallet to persuade it. Line it up so that it's close to being flush with the bed cabinet top. Then secure it using some 1¼ screws. Okay, now we're going to attach the 2 long 3-inch boards in between the 2 pivoting bookcases. Start by installing the pins and cams. Okay, now we'll assemble these 2 pieces together. That'll create the T shape. Stand that up. I'm going to attach it to this bookcase. And line it up with the top edge of the bookcase. Going to secure it with 3 of the 1¼ screws. 1 at the top behind the balance, 1 below the fixed shelf, and 1 at the bottom of the cabinet. Okay, sometimes you may need to shift the bottom or the top of the cabinet to make it square or lined up. Now we're going to install the adjustable shelves by taking the shelf pins and putting them in the 5mm holes. Congratulations, you've done it. Pivot. Bifold. Now you're ready to add the Murphy bed frame. Congratulations.